Hi guys, I hope you're all alright and enjoying the story. I'm back to read the next part of our story of the BFG. So Sophie and the BFG have gone into the cave and they're going to mix up a dream by getting bits of other dreams, mix them up together to make a special dream to blow into the Queen's bedroom. And then hopefully she will dream that the giants are coming to eat the children and she'll be able to do something to save them. That's the plan anyway. Let's find out what happens. It was dark now. The night had already begun. The BFG, with Sophie sitting on his hand, hurried into the cave and put on those brilliant blinding lights that seemed to come from nowhere. He placed Sophie on the table. "Stay there, please. No chittering. I's needing to listen only to silence when I is mixing up such knotty, plexitated dreams as this." And he hurried away from her, got out an enormous empty glass jar that was the size of a washing machine. He clutched it to his chest and hurried over towards the shelves, which stood thousands and thousands of small jars containing all the captured dreams. Dreams about giants, he muttered to himself as he searched along the labels. Giants is guzzling human beings. No, not that one. Not that one. No. Here's another. And he grabbed all those jars and he tipped those jars into the enormous jar. He took off the lids and poured them into that enormous jar. And as each one of them went in, Sophie saw a glimpse of a small sea green blob tumbling into the jar. The BFG hurried towards another shelf. "Now, I's wanting dreams about giggle houses for girls and boggle boxes for boys." And he was becoming very tense now. Sophie could almost see the excitement bubbling inside him as he scurried back and forth among his beloved jars. There must have been 50,000 dreams altogether up there on the shelves, but he seemed to know exactly where every one of them was. Dreams about a little girl. Dreams about me. About the BFG. Come on, hurry up, get on with it. Now, where in the wonky world are you keeping those ones? And so it went on. And here's a great picture of the BFG searching through his shelves at all the bottles. It went on. About half an hour, the BFG found all of the dreams that he wanted, and he tipped them all into that one huge jar. He put the jar on the table, and Sophie sat there watching him, but said nothing. Inside that big jar, lying at the bottom of it, she could see about 50 of those oval sea green jellyfish shapes, all gently pulsing in and out, some lying on top of others, but each one still definitely a separate individual dream. Now we is mixing them up, the BFG announced, and he went to the cupboard where he kept his bottles of Frobscottle, and from that he took out an enormous egg beater. It was one of those types with a handle which you turn, and down there lots of overlapping blades that go whizzing around. And he's whistling all the dreams up. He inserted the bottom end into the big jar where the dreams were lying. "Watch this," he said, and he started turning the handle very fast. Flashes of green and blue exploded inside the jar. Dreams were being whisked into a sea green froth. "Oh, those poor things," Sophie cried. "They's not feeling it," said the BFG as he turned the handle. "Dreams is not like human beings or animals. They's no brains. They's made of Zosimus." Zosimus. And can you see the picture there of the BFG whisking up the dream? After about a minute of whisking, the BFG stopped. The whole bottle was now full to the brim with large bubbles. They were almost exactly like the bubbles we ourselves blow from soapy water, except these bubbles were even brighter and more beautiful colours swimming on their surface. "Keep watching now," the BFG said, and quite slowly the topmost bubble rose up through the neck of the jar and floated away. A second one floated away, and a third and a fourth. Soon the cave all around them was filled with hundreds of beautifully coloured bubbles drifting through the air gently. It was a truly wonderful sight. As Sophie watched them, they all started floating towards the cave entrance, which was still open. "They're going out," Sophie whispered. "Course they are," the BFG said. "Where to?" "Well, those is all tiny little dream bits that I isn't using. They's going back to Misty Country to join up with the proper dreams." This is all a bit beyond me," Sophie said. "Dreams is full of mystery and magic," the BFG said. "Not try and understand them. Look in the big bottle. You'll see now the dream that you is wanting for the Queen." And Sophie turned and stared into the great glass jar. On the bottom of it, something was thrashing around wildly, bouncing up and down, flinging itself against the walls of the jar. "Good heavens, is that it?" "That's it," cried the BFG proudly. "But it's horrible, it's jumping about. It wants to get out." "That's 'cause it's a Troggle Humper," the BFG said. "That's now a nightmare." "But I don't want to give the Queen a nightmare," Sophie cried. "If she is dreaming about giants guzzling up little boys and girls, then what's you expecting it to be except a nightmare, eh?" the BFG said. "Oh no." "Oh yeah. A dream is where you're seeing little children being eaten. That's about the most frightsome trouble clumping dream I can think of. It's a kicksy bog thumper, it is a whopsy grob switcher. It's all of them riddled up into one. It's as bad as that dream that I blew into the flesh lumper this afternoon. In fact, it's worse." Sophie stared down at this fearful nightmare dream that was still thrashing away in the huge glass jar. It was much larger than the others. It was about the size and shape of, shall we say, a turkey's egg. It was jellyish. It had tinges of bright scarlet inside it. There was something terrible about the way it was throwing itself against the sides of the jar. "Oh, but I don't want to give the Queen a nightmare," Sophie said. "Well, I is thinking that your Queen, she'll be happy to have a nightmare if having a nightmare is going to save a lot of human beings from being gobbled up by filthsome giants. Is I right or left?" "Yes, I suppose you are right," Sophie said. "It's got to be done." "She'll soon be getting over it," the BFG said. "So, have you now put all the other important things into it?" When I is blowing that dream into the Queen's bedroom, she will be dreaming every single little thing-a-ling-a-ling that you's asking me to make in that dream." "Even about me sitting on the windowsill?" "That part is very strong." "And about the big friendly giant?" "I's putting in a nice long gobbet about him," the BFG said. And as he spoke, he picked up one of his smaller jars and very quickly tipped the struggling Troggle Humper out of that large big jar into the small one now. He screwed the lid on really tightly. "That's it, we is ready." And he fetched his suitcase and put that small jar into it. "Why bother to take a great big suitcase when you've only got one jar? You could put just that jar into your pocket, couldn't you?" The BFG looked down at her and smiled. "By goggles," he said, taking the jar out of the suitcase. "Your head is not quite so full of grime-sludge after all. I can see you was not born last week." "Well, thank you, kind sir," Sophie said, making a little curtsy on the tabletop. "So, is you ready to leave?" "I'm ready," Sophie cried. Her heart was beginning to thump at the thought of what they were about to do. It really was a wild and crazy thing. Perhaps they would soon be thrown into prison. The BFG was putting on his great big black cloak. He tucked the jar into his pocket, picked up his long trumpet-like dream blower, and he turned and looked at Sophie, who was still sitting on the tabletop. The dream bottle in my pocket. Is you going to sit in there with the dream during the travel? Oh no, never. I refuse to sit next to that beastly thing. Then where is you going to sit? The BFG asked her. Sophie looked over him for a few moments. And then she said, if you'd be so kind enough to swivel one of your big lovely ears so that it is lying flat like a dish, that would make a very cosy place for me to sit. By gumbo, what a squackling good idea, the BFG said. And slowly he swiveled his huge right ear until it was like a great shell facing up to the heavens. He lifted Sophie up and placed her into his ear. The ear itself, which was about the size of a large tea tray, was full of the same channels and crinkles as a human ear is, and it was extremely comfortable to sit in. Hello, I don't fall down. I don't want to fall into your ear hole, Sophie said, edging away from that large hole next to her. Well, you be careful not to do that. You would be giving me a crackling big earache. The nice thing about being there was that she could actually whisper directly into the giant's ear. Oh, you tickling me a bit there. Please do not jiggle about. I'll try not to. Okay, are we ready? Oh, don't do that. I didn't do anything. You was talking too loud. You was forgetting that I is hearing every little thing-a-ling-a-ling 50 times louder than usual. You shouting right inside my ear. Oh yes, God, sorry, I forgot. Your voice is sounding like thunder and trumpets in my head. I'm so sorry. Is that better? No, still sounds as though you was shooting off a blunderbuss in my ear. Then how can I talk to you? Just don't. Please don't. Each word you say is like dropping puzzle bombs in my ear holes. Sophie tried speaking right under her breath. Is better, she said. She spoke so softly that she couldn't really even hear her own voice. Is better. Ah, that's better. Now I hear you very nicely. What was you trying to say to me just now? I was saying, are we ready? We is off, cried the BFG. We's off to meet Her Magister the Queen. Outside the cave, he rolled the large round stone back into place and off they set at a tremendous gallop. Off to see the Queen. And next time we'll find out what happens to them when they get to London to see the Queen. Right, have a good day. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.